can make a better way. Set examples for her babies that we'll never forget. That's where yes, my spirit comes from, eternally never met. Oh, good life. One day that's what I'll be living. Fantasy.
Families across rural America struggle to build a life free of financial debt and worry. But money traps appear around every corner. Avoiding these traps and understanding credit, budgets, and how to accumulate savings are key to attaining financial security.
So it's cost me $2,118 to borrow $300. And people want to know, I don't understand why you don't have any money. That's why I don't have any money.
For Sandra and her husband Julian, their nightmare began when Julian lost his job. They needed some quick cash to pay bills. So, with their options exhausted and no good choices, Sandra turned to payday loans.
So in '96 we moved here and lived here and paid our rent on time every month up until I got myself involved in payday lending and got behind on the rent and unfortunately was evicted from here.
Sandra and Julian fell into a trap that sends people in similar situations spiraling into debt.
The first one I got was a phone loan. They gave me the information on the phone. They said, well, this is all we need for you to fax to us. Just fax us your pay stub, your bank statement, and a voided check. And we'll fax you an application. You fill that out, fax that along with all the documents that we request, and we'll give you a loan. And I was like, that's it? And I was like, that's it. So I said, well, okay, sure. And I was like, well, how much does it cost to pay it back? And it's like $25 per 100. They don't talk to you in terms of APR. They talk to you in terms of the fee amount. So to say to somebody $25 for a loan and you're thinking a short-term loan and I don't have the best credit in the world, then this is just like my penalty for not having very good credit. I gotta pay what somebody else wouldn't have to pay. I am broke and I don't understand why. And by 3 or 4 months, it was that extra $150 that I'd been paying out that I needed. But it was gone and I didn't really see where the money was going. So I picked up a second loan.
Payday loans take advantage of the need for emergency cash. Payday lenders loan you money against your next paycheck. Payday lenders also make it very easy to continually extend a loan or receive new ones. The problem is the exorbitant fees and high interest rates charged for the loan. The APR, or annual percentage rate, is the cost of your loan expressed as a yearly percentage rate. When shopping for loans, you should compare APRs, not interest rates, since APRs reflect the cost of interest and other finance charges.
So if I got a $300 loan now,
okay, you would pay back $352.50.
So every month I was running around trying to pay back 6 payday loans. In totality, for a month would be about $600 a month. That was just the fees. That wasn't the amount of the loan. So after about a year, I started calculating how much I had paid in fees, and that's when I came up with my $8,100 figure.
Sandra and Julian's financial problems took them by surprise. Like many couples, both had good-paying jobs and were living in a nice apartment, saving for a house. Sandra is an assistant to the Director of Finance at the University of North Carolina and was named State Employee of the Year. Julian was an executive chef at a local restaurant. The crisis of Julian losing his job sent them into financial turmoil. To try and continue paying their bills, they took out loans from 6 different payday lenders. Slowly, they're paying off close to $10,000 of loans and fees incurred.
In desperate times, or when you're desperate, you don't think about things like that. All of a sudden, you have a crisis in your house. Where my crisis was my husband not working. The first thing that came to my mind was, how do I continue to pay my bills?
We spent a lot of money on fees, and I mean, it hurt. It hurt our savings and our checking account and all. But at that time, you know, we had to do what we had to do, but we can rewind the tape again. that wouldn't have happened.
Like Sandra and Julian, Marisol was in need of emergency cash. Taking out multiple loans, Marisol's totaled $3,000.
I was with the payday lenders, I would say, God, before you even know it, it'll be a year and two, because you keep rolling them over or paying them or taking it back out. So basically, I was doing that for 2 years because I had no way out.
But then Marisol's sister told her about the community credit union in their neighborhood. The Northside Credit Union in Illinois was established to service the financial needs of people in the community. They were able to loan Marisol the money at a small cost so she could pay off her loans.
They loaned me the money to pay these places off, and within 6 months, I paid the credit union back, and they only charged me like $89 in interest for the 6 months that they gave me $3,000. And this other place, I ended up paying like $6,000 for the $3,000. So they helped me out a lot. And the payday loan stores, now I tell everybody not to go to them. At first, I didn't know what they were or how they worked, and the interest is unbelievable how high their interest rates are. But people go to them because people find themselves, like me, I went to them. Sometimes they need some financial support. They have nowhere else to go, so they go there.
Every day, Sandra and Julian struggled to keep paying off their debts and payday loans.
First of all, of course, I encourage people not to get payday loans. Talk to family and see if you can get like 4 or 5 of your family members together, or try to look at some alternatives at your job. I encourage people to just look at other alternatives because unfortunately I've found out the hard way.
And I looked up online on Kelly's Blue Book online at what the vehicle was actually worth and what my actual payoff to own that vehicle was going to be, and I was almost paying twice what the vehicle was worth. Why would somebody pay twice than what something's worth? It's not going to happen to me again.
In the rural areas of New England, there is no public transportation. Whether it's traveling to work or a family activity, people are totally dependent on their cars to travel anywhere. The automotive industry estimates that people in rural areas of the U.S. drive 5,000 to 8,000 miles more per year than the national average. Low-income rural Americans face the dual challenge of finding cars that are reliable and affordable. For Dan and his wife Laura, their used car loans of over 23%, combined with extensive auto repairs and the loss of Dan's job, sent them further and further into debt.
I ended up having a vehicle repossessed voluntarily because I was left without a job. That put my credit in a bad situation. You need a vehicle to be able to provide for your family, to be able to just maintain your job, and for emergency situations. Without a vehicle, you're really helpless. And the only option that we could see, like I said, was the high interest.
Dan and Laura heard about Fannie Clack, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping people with bad or no credit to purchase affordable new cars at low interest rates and gain a financial education.
And if your credit score is low, then that's going to cause the bank to offer a higher interest rate for you.
The purchase process for buying cars is much more complicated than what most people realize. You know, and also the negotiation process. So people come to us that have difficulty with credit, having access, and they need a car to get to work. They're also very vulnerable at that point in time as well, because if you don't have a car to get to work, then all of a sudden you're losing income, and it creates a very difficult situation.
It's going to take a lot for us to build it back up, back to credit, but we learned a lesson that we will never again settle for a used vehicle. We will never again just look at the bottom monthly amount. We're going to look at all the figures. And Fannie Clack had really taught us what to watch out for.
To help clients like Dan and Laura receive the most affordable deal, Fannie Clack guarantees the loan to lower the interest rate. They also aggressively negotiate the lowest price possible. Through Fannie Clack's financial education course, Dan and Laura learn how to repair their credit, so in the future they would qualify for low-interest loans on their own. They received new car financing at 4.5%, much lower than their 23% previous used car loan. The lower interest rate, combined with repairing their credit and the reliability of a new car, makes this purchase an affordable long-term solution for a family's transportation needs.
We ended up, going over what our monthly needs were, our expenses, especially with all these kids and everything, so that we knew that, we were still going to have food on the table and be able to, pay for gasoline and oil changes and such. So we went through a lot of numbers, a lot of figures and what ifs, and it worked out in our favor.
Take the time to look, take the time to ask the questions, understand what you're reading, understand what you're getting into, and plan.
There's not many people finance mobile homes. If you were to buy it outright, there's not a problem there. I don't know about you folks, but I don't have $45,000, $50,000 kicking around doing nothing. So you pay a very, very high interest.
Jack lives in a manufactured housing park in New England. Like many similar developments across the country, manufactured housing can provide affordable home ownership for rural families. But the money traps of high-interest loans, hidden fees, and questions of land ownership can turn this affordable housing option into an unaffordable financial disaster.
In many states still today, manufactured homes are considered personal property by title or motor vehicles in terms of titling. And so the system really follows the financing system is not residential for these homes because A, sometimes the titling is not real estate, and two, they don't have control over the land beneath their homes.
The trailer itself is like 80 foot long by 14 wide, so it's a big trailer. This is supposed to be a third bedroom, but...
Jack received help from the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund. The loan fund organizes park residents to work together so they can purchase land, improve financing, and gain legal protection for their manufactured housing developments.
That's long been the idea, as people would buy a manufactured home as an entry-level home, as a step towards acquiring a site-built home or other type of house. And what a lot of people over time have found is that does work in instances, but it also turns out that this is a housing choice that they're happy with.
Jack's first manufactured home was in a land-leased community. He did not own any rights to the land where his trailer was situated. Jack was given just over 30 days to move off the land he and his family had called home for many years.
Altogether, I had around $7,500 into the trailer, including purchasing and the rebuilding. I did obviously all the labor. I was a lot younger then, and I could do a lot more. I had the for sale for $1,800, so you can pretty much do mathematics there. I'm not too good at math. I lost a bundle.
Years after Jack swore he'd never live in a manufactured housing park again, he moved into the Breezy Acres Cooperative. Co-ops are parks that are owned by the homeowners. Owning the land qualifies manufactured homes for lower residential financing instead of the high interest rates received with personal loans that lenders assign mobile homes on leased land. The tenants of Breezy Acres purchased their land with the help of the loan fund.
If I wanted to put this on the market where it is, I could probably get twice what I paid for it. This is the only cooperative park I've been exposed to. If they're all like this one, then nobody would have any problem.
Hi, Dina. How are you doing?
Barbara and Dina are friends who share a similar story, the dream of home ownership for their families. But years of falling into money traps, credit card debt, no bank accounts, late payments, and no savings had left them both with poor credit histories. Dina was struggling, leaving an abusive marriage, surviving on welfare, and raising her 2 children. Dina was left with no credit. She was also figuring out how to re-enter the job market. Barbara also had no credit and was finding it impossible to achieve her goal of buying a home. Both found assistance from the Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Forsyth County. CCCS offers an array of financial services, including financial education and IDA programs.
They're trained professionals down there, and there are specific things they want of their people. And one of the first things she had me do was stop crying. The second thing she had me do was open a bank account. That enabled me to pay my bills on a regular, with checks, so not buying money orders and things like that.
Dina's job at the local grocery store provided her an income and health benefits so she could pursue her college education and earn a degree as an X-ray technician. Bit by bit, she was able to establish her credit.
IDA explained to me that if I was to save a certain amount of money every month, and they were going to match me 2 for 1. At that point, it was a 2-to-1 match. And so I'm thinking, that's sounding pretty good. And they told me to start looking for houses immediately, that I was ready to buy a house.
IDAs, or individual development accounts, are special accounts where sponsors match money deposited. The sponsor can be the government or a nonprofit organization. The money in the account is for specific uses, such as school tuition or buying a home.
In our community, we have a really outstanding IDA program in that we will match consumers' savings $4,000 for every $1,000 that they save. And so that, matched with some other public assistance homeownership money, can really close the affordability gap for many low to moderate income people to get more home for their money and do it within what they can afford. The IDA program here in Forsyth County, we have coaches that work with our participants over an 18-month period, helping them deal with the life challenges that they face day to day.
When I got signed up in the IDA program, they would teach me to keep my credit good, to save money, to have what money I have work for me, and just stay a responsible tax-paying citizen and keep the money in rolling, and to not be so frivolous and wasteful. And I'll tell you, we can $5 ourselves to death. We can $5 ourselves into $50 a day. We can $50 a day ourselves into hundreds of dollars a week, and it's easy. Don't have to buy much. A 4- and 5-year-old don't eat a lot.
Dina attended financial education classes and saved. Within a year, Dina was ready to purchase her own home.
I feel like such a responsible citizen. I feel like, gosh, my taxes are paid. I feel like I have a say-so in everything now. I just feel like such an adult. I really do. I understand how important it is to teach children the responsibility, financial responsibility, and I can be there for my children and teach them about financial responsibility starting now. And I think that will make a very big difference in their life. I think my children will be homeowners upon leaving my home.
Just getting this house is a big, it's big for me. It's really big, and it's big for the children. I mean, I'm from the country. I'm from Morganton, and you know, my family's down there. They have their own houses.
They taught us how to track down what we were spending so we could see where our money was going. That made the biggest difference, and that opened up our eyes.
Barbara and her husband Leslie live with their 5 children in North Carolina. For years, they struggled paycheck to paycheck with no credit and little savings. Barbara and Leslie had no idea the money traps of the past would negatively impact their ability to own a home. Then they were introduced to the IDA program.
It took us 1 year.
Yeah, we were good. We started August of one year, and August of the next year we had signed papers and we had purchased. So we got in. Once we started to learn, because we had been out there looking for a while and we kept hitting stumbling blocks. And once we realized the errors that that we were going through, we decided that we're gonna do this.
I never knew what principal and PTI is until I started the program. I was really illiterate when it came down to saving money and learning the ins and outs of credit cards, because my money was my money and I'm gonna keep my money. But now I can do more things with my money.
We all agreed as a family that we need to make some sacrifices, and so it was some of those big ticket items that they always wanted that we had to sacrifice for, but in the end it's all worth it. But right now, they're saving towards something. They don't know what it is. Chelsea's the only one who knew what it was, and she's my baby, but she knows what she wants, and Happy Meals is her joy, and so she decides that she's gonna save money for Happy Meals, and that's what she does.
The bank is covered because there's insurance on the mortgage.
I went through the program. Like I said, I get money in my pocket. I want to spend it right away, or I want to spend it the next day. When I started the program, I got in. I was in the sports store, and I have money in my pocket, and I stand in line, and I'm like, do I really need this, or can I just put it in the bank and wait? Wait another time. I'm not in a dire need. And I say, well, I can put this towards something else. I just put it back in my pocket and I go put the item back on the shelf. Because I really want to spend it, but it makes you think differently about spending my money.
After Barbara graduated, her enthusiasm and ability to communicate the IDA program to others earned her the job as director of the program. Now she helps others pursue their dream of home ownership.
If I died today, what do I have to leave to my children? And when you think on that aspect and you have no assets, you have nothing to leave to your children but bills, that is very, very, disheartening. You don't want to leave your children with a bunch of bills. You would love to be able to leave them with your home. You would love to be able to be insured so that they could pay off your home and do different things. It taught us about saving money for, as we get older, for retirement, and for a lot of different things, investing in our future, and that's something I'd never thought about.
Money traps exist all around us. By tapping into community programs that provide financial education and home buying programs, tracking personal spending, starting savings plans, and avoiding bad financial loans, families can escape money traps and begin to build assets. Assets that will move people that much closer to a financially secure future.